Welcome to class tonight. We're going to be continuing basically the lesson from today's class. So today's lesson was 3.3 or 4.3. We're going to be basically continuing that lesson today in math class now because we're going to be we're going to be talking about adding mixed numbers. In class, we just were adding regular boring fractions, but they did not have common denominators. So we're going to take that a step further now. We're going to be adding mixed numbers. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. Now you are going to need to use your knowledge from class, what we did in class. That's going to be extremely helpful for you for this. So let's go ahead and get started. Sorry, I need to fix something real quick. Alright, let's get started. So now the first step then is going to be actually pretty easy. We're going to start off with fraction or mixed numbers that have common denominators. So that's the easy part. So let's go ahead and name this right here. So I see one whole, I see two wholes. So I have two wholes, and then I have 1, 2, 3 fifths. So that whole number is going to, so this mixed number is going to be 2 and 3 fifths because I have two wholes and then 3 fifths. Now over here I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 wholes and 1 fifth. So we would call this mixed number 4 and 1 fifth. Now I put a little box on the screen to show and emphasize what we're going to be doing today. But I've broken it down into 3 steps. So this right here, this is a very important little box. So our first step is going to be add the whole numbers. So that whole numbers are very simple. So a whole number there, so it's going to be 6. Then I'm going to add my fractions. And in this case, it's very easy. 3 fifths plus 1 fifth, and you can actually add the fractions there. It's going to be 4 fifths, and then simply find the last step is going to be combined. So you would get 6 and 4 fifths. So we're taking our whole numbers, adding those, and then we're taking our fractions and we're adding those as well. Now I put these pictures right here on the board because I want you to see this, especially as you go back and maybe watch this video again, so you can see, okay, there's lots of fifths there, there's 2 wholes and 3 fifths there, and then 4 wholes over here and 1 fifth there, and then you just add them together. So that is the very first step. That's the easy part. Adding mixed numbers with like denominators. Very simple. Add the whole number, add the fraction, and then combine. Now our next step is actually going to be to add mixed numbers that do not have common denominators. Now this is where our lesson from today is going to be very important because we're going to use that information to apply it here. So right here we're going to name these fractions. So I have 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 holes. So there's 3 holes, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sevenths. So this mixed number is going to be 3 and 4 sevenths. This mixed number is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2 fifths. That's my mixed number. Now, with this, I cannot just go ahead and add them together automatically like I did back here because they do not have common denominators. So because they don't have common denominators, there's going to be a small change. But you can see this little box right here. Let's talk about this box. So this box says, first of all, add the whole numbers. So let's do that first. I'll do it actually over here this time. So 3 plus 4, just like I would do normal addition, is going to be 7. So there are 7 whole numbers there. Okay, or there are 7 whole fractions. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 whole pies. Now I'm going to work on my fractions. Now we're going to use our knowledge from class today to get a common denominator and then add. So I'm actually going to pull these fractions out a little bit. So I'm actually going to scroll down, give myself some space. And I'm going to use a different color here. So once again I'm going to find common denominators. Let's find the LCM. So 7 and 5. Now remember we're going to go out 5 places and then multiply them together. So it's going to be 7, 14, 21, 28, and then 35, and then 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Alright, so I don't see 5 here, so let's go with 35, because 5 times 7 is going to be 35. So 35 is going to be my common denominator. So I'm going to have, scroll back up here real quick, so 4 sevenths is my fraction. My denominator is going to be 35, so just like I showed you in class today. How do I go from 7 to 35? Well, you multiply it by 5. 5 times 7 equals 35. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So 4 times 5 equals 20. So 4 sevenths is equal to 35ths. Let's do the same thing for the fifths. So I have 2 fifths, and I'm going to 35. So I have 5 times 7 equals 35. So 2 times 7 is going to be 14. So there I have 14 35ths. Now, ladies and gentlemen, send page one more time. Now I can add my fractions. So I have 20 35ths plus 14 35ths. And that's going to equal 34 35ths. So now I go all the way back up here. So I added my whole number. Got that done. Check. Now I just added my fractions, and now I need to combine. So my final answer, I'll go back to red, is going to be 7, because that's my whole number, 34 35ths. And that is my final answer for this question. So you see how I once again went through the steps and solved the problem very quickly. Alright, now I have another issue. Now the issue is I do not have the same denominators, and I'm actually going to have to rename. We'll talk about what that means. I'll show you what that means in just a minute. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, let's name these fractions. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wholes, and then 3 fourths. And over here I have 1, 2 wholes, and I have 3 eighths. Okay, so I have 5 and 3 fourths plus 2 and 3 eighths. So I'm going to add my whole numbers first. So 5 plus 2 is 7. I have 7 wholes. Now I'm going to add my fractions. Now, if you're looking at these, I'm going to scroll, I'm going to give myself some space. So 4 and 8. If you're looking at finding a common denominator, it should be pretty easy, because 4, 8, oh, look at that. And my first denominator right there. So 8 is going to be my common denominator. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have 3 fourths times what equals 8. So 4 times 2 equals 8. So it's going to be 6 eighths. And over here I have 3 eighths. Well, I don't need to change that at all, so that's going to stay as 3 eighths. So now I'm going to add, so 6 eighths plus 3 eighths equals 9 eighths. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is an improper fraction. And I can't leave it as an improper fraction. So I am going to have to make that a mixed number. And you say, wait a second, Mr. Hurst, we're already doing mixed numbers. Well, watch what I do. So right here, so 8, so I put the 9 inside the box, 8 outside the box, divide it, so it's going to be 1. So 8 ninths is the same thing as 1 and 1/8. Now, I have just renamed, I just took my fraction, so I have 8 ninths. Now, I am simply going to add my mixed number to this right here. I need to combine my fraction and my whole number, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to say 7 plus 1 and 1/8. Well, 1/8 plus nothing is 1/8. 7 plus 1 is going to be 8. So my final answer is going to be 8 and 1/8, because I actually had to rename this right here, this portion right there. I had to rename that. Instead of saying 9 eighths, I had to call it 1 1/8, and then I add it right here to my whole number. I would strongly suggest you go back and maybe watch this portion again. This is the more difficult portion, and I want to make sure we understand this. Alright, our very last portion, very last part. We need to make sure you directly connect this to what we're doing in class and the word problem specifically. So let's go ahead and read this. It says a sports team practiced for 2 1/2 hours on Monday and for 1 3/4 hour on Tuesday. How long did the team practice? So we're going to be adding these two fractions, so 2 1/2 plus 1 3/4. Well, first thing I'm going to add my whole numbers and get 3. Now I'm going to add my fractions. You can't just automatically add those fractions. You have to get common denominators. So if I convert this, so 1/2, my denominator is going to be 4. That's easy. So there we go. So I have 2 fourths plus 3 fourths. That's going to equal 5 fourths. Oh no, we have an improper fraction, so we have to do the exact same thing we did earlier, which make it a mixed number. 5 inside the box, 4 outside the box, you get 1 and 1/4, and I'm going to add it here. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my final answer. They practiced for 4 and 1/4 hours. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, I would strongly encourage you to go back and watch portions of this, especially as you're doing some of these problems. This is not the easiest of skills. This takes some time. And especially all the way going back here to this one right here with uncommon denominators, we're going to be using those a lot. So you've got to make sure that you are doing all this, finding a common denominator, and then adding. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the lesson. The key tonight is going to be to follow these steps right here that I listed out for you. Add the whole number, add the fractions, and then finally combine the whole number and fraction. Your homework tonight is going to be page 187, 4 through 12 even. Once again, page 187, 4 through 12 even. Have a great night.